anything that could get me high, and my priority was nobody else but my high. I was drinking every day. I can drink up to 2 crates of beer by myself. When I was 19, I started using ecstasy. But later on, as an adult, I started methamphetamines very quickly. My functional life, where I didn't use any hard substances, became shorter and shorter. And the amount of days that I was high was longer. I came from a very abusive home, and my parents got divorced at a very young age. I watched a lot of violence growing up. It was very unstable. It was a lot of trauma for a child, and it oozed out as I was growing up, but I didn't realize it. Previously, I was coping with squash and training. There was no time to think of any negative coping strategy. As soon as I quit squash because of my studies, my social life went up. I started partying, I started drinking. I was like, okay, you know, what is this new thing that I can latch on to, which numbs my emotions and makes me feel amazing. A person who hasn't been addicted to substances will of course say, you know, why don't you just get off of it? You know, easy, just stop lah. But it's not as easy. Once you actually build your life around the substance, you're dependent on it, you will get all of these physiological effects also, depending on what substances you use. You have to put in proper measures. Somebody who takes heroin, they actually feel real physical pain. For meth, for example, you don't sleep for days. Because I haven't slept for many nights, I didn't have color on my face. I started getting paranoid thoughts. That's when my anxiety was through the roof. You just become scared to go out. With my mother, we were on very bad terms. There was this one time where she was driving and she hit a car. She called me up. How I responded, I scolded her because she was interrupting my high at that time. My priority was nobody else but my high. I lost my job. My usage increased to every day because I didn't have to go into work anymore. My paranoia was high, anxiety was high. I nearly lost my sanity. I was feeling this really depth of despair, but I feel like this huge void inside my chest. But I need to use more and more and more so I don't feel that void. May 15th, 2021 will be 3 years for me. I had amazing colleagues and bosses, and they told me I needed to get help. They saw that behavioral change, and they knew that wasn't me. Because in my mind, rehab was jail cells. What I didn't know was that there are rehabilitation centers that are holistic, where they teach you about your addiction, about recovery. They give you tools, coping mechanisms. But of course, the true test will be once you step out of rehab. There was this one scenario where everyone was drinking by the pool and it was a hot day, and I just came out of my hotel room to the pool area and I was like, oh my god, my mouth is salivating. The more you indulge in that thought, it becomes a craving. And then if you don't intercept a craving, it can turn into a relapse. I straight away ran back to the room, I brushed my teeth. When you imagine it, you start to taste the alcohol. Straight away you get this minty taste, and then suddenly it diverts your thoughts to something else. When you've been through certain darknesses, always battling with yourself in your mind for years and years and years, and it's so tiring. You just want that peace. Previously, my only form of coping was substances. Right now, it's a lot to do with fitness and healthy living, healthy eating. Never in my life previously I would actually think that I would never touch alcohol or any substances until I die. The best part is to actually love my life currently being sober. So my purpose right now is to live my best life. So if you feel that you can't do it on your own, you need to reach out. You don't have to hit rock bottom to actually reach out for help. As you go through the uncomfortable and you deal with the issues that you need to deal with without the use of any substances, you don't have that chains connected to you anymore. You can be the best person you want to be. Now I feel a proper sense of freedom. I'm Sagita and I'm the Asian woman.